Dee, 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 dee. Is that live? Is that live? Testing, testing, testing. What's up, internet? It's the skill issue dev, aka Brandon, back at it again with another video. Um, so today we're going to be going over like this little presentation about conversion rate optimization. So what it is and how we can optimize it. I don't know if optimize is spelled with an S, an S or a Z, but I don't know. Optimize, I don't know. Whatever it is, but you probably can figure out what I mean by that. So this is part of my marketing uh, series, more so for like targeted towards e-commerce. Because why? I'll be building um custom apps for e-commerce stores that are in like the $1 million range. So because of that, I have decided to like also dive deep into like more technical knowledge that I would need and like just improve my overall knowledge and skills. That way I can also make my apps better, right? Because you need to know, like, you need some domain knowledge. So, this is what this series is about, me acquiring more and more domain knowledge. That way, I can build better and better apps for my customers and all that. But anyway, we start off with this. So, what is conversion rate optimization? I know this is kind of like silly. If like you are in the $1 million range, you'd probably know what this is. But then again, like, bear with me, bro. Like, just learning it again wouldn't hurt at all, right? So conversion rate optimization, or better known as CRO, is simply the process of increasing the percentage of website visitors who take a desired action, right? Such actions being buying a product from you, signing up to your newsletter, and all that other stuff that you want someone who lands on your site to do, right? Its main focus is to improve overall user experience and website effectiveness, thus making more people who visit your website buy from you. Hence why it's conversion rate, right? We're optimizing that, right? So next up, why is CRO so important for businesses to measure and track, right? With more with more of a focus on e-commerce stores and brands, tracking this is of the utmost importance as it has the following advantages for us, right? Higher ROI on existing traffics. Sometimes as a business, especially at this level of scale of like the $1 million range, you no longer have a traffic problem because mainly a business either has a traffic problem or a conversion problem, right? At the start, it's always a traffic, right? So at the start, conversions don't matter that much, but you have to like focus on like generating the traffic. But once you're at this level of scale, you are getting the traffic. That's how you got to those kinds of revenue numbers. So for you to grow, you need to actually optimize for your existing traffic instead of like trying to get more and more people, because now you're just gonna increase your bounce of your bounce rate. But I'll get into that. So sometimes as a business, you no longer have a traffic problem, but rather a conversion problem. You can get people to your site, but not over the finish line to actually get them to buy. Two, reducing customer acquisition costs. If customers have a pleasant experience with your site first time, they are more likely than ever to come back and buy from you again. So you don't have to continue doing too much with ads and like continue incurring costs to acquire new customers, right? Three, building customer trust and loyalty. This point goes well into the one above, and if they have a pleasant experience on your site the first time, they trust you and your brand more, right? In this day and age, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And those three factors are of the utmost importance to always keep track of. Next up, four is gaining insights into visitor behavior. See and track analytics of what your visitors are actually doing and how you can optimize it for their better experience on your site, right? Especially for this analytics part, in this day and age, data is of the utmost importance for any business. So you understand how your customers interact with your business and make better data driven decisions, because in the 21st century data is worth a lot, like a lot, right? Anyway, key metrics to track for your CRO campaigns, right? Knowing what CRO is, and we now need to know which metrics to actually track. That way our efforts are actually put to good use and we actually don't waste our time. The main metrics to track would include conversion rate, right? So conversion rate is pretty much conversions divided by total visitors times 100, right? That's how you get a percentage. So this is pretty much the total number of people who visit your site, right? Let's say you visit 100 people visit your site and 20 people like sign up for like or purchase your product. So it'll be 20 divided by 100 times 100, and then you get that percentage. I do not have a calculator with me right now, but like let's just yeah, nah, let's not get into the math right now. We'll leave it at that, right? So what this means is that how many people who visit your website actually convert and perform an action you want them to perform, which is either purchase something or like join your newsletter or your community or whatever it is, right? Two, your bounce rate, visitors who leave without interacting, which is what I discussed before. This is what we try to reduce as best as we can, so that when someone just clicks on the site, they don't just immediately be like, bruh, and just bounce, right? Three, average session duration, right? Visiting the site is good and all. You can say, oh, we generate a lot of traffic, but the traffic means jack shit if like your average session duration is like super low, right? Like if someone is staying on your site for like 10 to 15 seconds, then you having 100,000 visitors doesn't mean jack shit if they're all staying for like 15 seconds, right? So average session duration is how long our customers stay on our site before they are sick and start bouncing, right? Four is the cart abandonment rate. How many actual like how many actually perform an action, which is like adding an item to the cart, but don't cross the finish line. They don't actually purchase any products they add to their cart, right? And then five, revenue per visitor. How much we can make per visitor on our site, and also like something like your average order value and customer lifetime value, but we'll get into that some other time. Now, understanding what to track is good and all, but something that goes well with understanding what to track is how to track it, right? You should also know how. What tools can we use to track our CRO metrics, right? So now we have like Google Analytics we can use for like traffic and user behavior data. We have heat tracking software like, so what heat tracking software does is like it's a visual representation of user interaction. This way you can see what wait this way, why this like that. See, I be bugging sometimes. So this way you can see what it is your customers do on your site before purchasing or either leaving the site, right? So I'm going to like probably update this with like the actual software and like making better and better presentations, but hopefully you can understand. You can just make a quick Google search for heat tracking software and it should like come up. Like, I'm sorry. Three is A/B testing tools. Compare different versions of your site to see which performs better and gets you more conversions overall. So just A/B testing is just pretty much, you know, making a different version of like your landing page or your product page. And then when traffic people are visiting your site, you just split the traffic, right? You just split the traffic. You send one group of users on this one and the other group on the other website that you have changed. And then you see which one gets more overall conversions like that. So there's a tool which just assigns a user to randomly go to like either any of the websites, right? So you just split your traffic and that's how you can A/B test, and then you can keep track of the data to see which is like getting more conversions, right? And then four, we have Shopify Analytics. Shopify also has built-in analytics into its platform which you can make use of. Not sure how good it is, right? Because it's like it's there, but like I don't know how good it is because I've never heard like anyone who's like serious about this talk about, oh, I use Shopify's inbuilt custom analytics. Only the guys at the start only do that, so it's probably not as good, but like I digress. So yeah, so and more in detail steps for optimizing CRO, right? First things first is analyzing user behavior. This is of the utmost importance, as to improve upon something, you must firstly understand how it works. So use heat maps to see how the user interacts with your site and the actions they perform before they purchase something or before they bounce, right? Analyze and make sure and make use of session recordings to see how customers view your site and identify any pain points they may have during any part of their journey. So this is one of like those texts where it's like, you ask your users to like kind of record themselves as they're using your site, or you track that using your analytics software to see what they're doing, right? So that you can identify like at what point in time, or like where is it exactly where they just decide sorry, where they just decide that like, what, maybe this isn't the option for me, right? Now, also review funnel reports and spot drop zones, which is what I was just discussing before. It's like, you need to identify that point where it's like the user just says, this ain't for me, right? Where exactly and what point in time does the user just decide this is too much and leaves, right? Another point in identifying conversion bottlenecks is spot issues within your site that with which yeah, which reduce conversion rate. Most common things that reduce conversion rates include poor navigation, like I cannot see where I need to go to navigate to somewhere else, slow page loads, bright and contrasting colors. Like sometimes some designs I've seen some like Shopify website, like some are cool, but like like it's very difficult to be cool and effective at the same time. So try your best to always make it as simple as you can, because simple is just the way it works, right? From a design perspective, it may look cool, but like always be careful of that. Next up is unclear call to actions. Sabra, what is it like? Your call to actions, your CTAs should tell the user exactly what they need to do. It shouldn't like confuse them anymore, or be like kind of vague, like it shouldn't be vague. Don't be like, I'm gonna say, wanna find out more? Like that's too vague, bruh. Right? It's kind of like vague, right? And another reason for the bad conversion rate is bad copy of your content. Like maybe just your content just sucks. Okay, yeah, it's just like that's how it is sometimes, right? We just gotta be honest and truthful with each other. Like if I am not honest with you, who else is going to be honest with you, right? That's how it is, right? Another reason is high cart abandonment rate also signal a few issues with your site. This being pricing, right? For this pricing section, we're gonna get into it, but like always make sure you include all your pricing up front so that the user knows. And don't try to be smart, because if you are smart, the user is gonna smart up and bounce from your site, right? So always watch out for that. Two, trust with you or your brand, right? Like that's why I previously stated before, like, in this day and age, people only buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? So these three things, I don't know if you can see these three things. So if your brand is not that, then it's quite the problem for you, right? Another reason is user experience. Like, sometimes like websites are just not as friendly. I don't know if you've heard about Linux, where they say Linux is not user friendly. It is friendly. It's just picky on who its friends are. So it's just like with this thing, right? Your way is like your site is fun for you because you built it, you have that attachment to it, but it's not very fun for other users to use. Hence why you may get high abandonment cut rates and low conversion rate. And then next up is unoptimized mobile page views. So a lot of traffic probably comes from mobile devices, but then most businesses spend a bit way too much time optimizing it for the big screen on the laptops, the computers, and they pay little attention to the mobile side, while also forgetting that most of your traffic will be coming from mobile devices. So it's always in your best interest to like optimize for both. And if you can't optimize for both, make sure you start off optimizing for mobile, right? Because that's where your traffic is going to be. Like you're probably using marketing stuff like TikTok and Instagram, right? And people who use TikTok and Instagram use it on mobile. So when they click your link to go and buy your product, it will be on mobile again, So it's best to optimize for mobile because ain't nobody using TikTok or Instagram on a laptop, bruh. That's just delinquency behavior, bruh. Next up is a lack of social proof to convince the customer, right? You should always show social proof, right? I have seen this where it's like if you go to Amazon.com, right, and then there are two screwdrivers. One costs like $100 and the other costs $10. It's virtually the same screwdriver, right? Or maybe like they just cost the same price. Both cost $100. I know there's no screwdriver that costs $100, but like just bear with the example. Two of them both cost $100 next to each other, side by side, right? One has 500 reviews with like a 4.5 star rating, and the other has like what, 5, 10, 20 reviews, right? So, which one do you think the user is gonna take? Huh? See, probably the one with the 100 ratings, right? Because even though it's crazy expensive, it's like the other one may be cheaper, the other one may be better. But the fact that this one has social proof from other people, they're like, yo, I have used this and I trust this. It makes me as a buyer be like, you know what? If 100 people have used this and say that it's good, it's probably good, right? So that's what you need on your Shopify store, a bit more of reviews from actual people and actually like show people that are actually leaving these reviews so that you can build that trust with your customers. Next up is the power of A/B testing. A/B testing, as I discussed before, is simply the process of comparing two versions of the same design to see which one of them performs better to increase conversions without affecting the entire business. So this way, when you split test like using A/B testing, you do not change like the overall design of the site so that like it becomes like super bad. And you know, when you're doing this, you just change a few details just here and there, here and there, here and there, and then just split the traffic to see if these changes actually make any effect, right? So here are a few things you should definitely test during the run of your A/B test, right? The website copy. Like, if your copy sucks, bro, it doesn't matter how you can have the most optimized site in the universe, but if your copy just sucks, no one's gonna buy from you. That's just how it is, right? Placement of CTAs. Like, yeah, having good call to actions is good, but placing them in the right positions is even better. I would rather have a bad CTA placed in the right position than a good CTA placed in the wrong position. Because at least when it's placed in the right position, you can do what? Get more conversions. So placing it, this placement of CTAs is you just optimizing your CTAs for both the desktop and the mobile version. Because a CTA that works on desktop most probably will not likely work on mobile because mobile is mobile, right? Most people use a mobile with like one hand. So, and like I ain't trying to use like that's crazy. Next up is color schemes. Don't try to be too smart with the colors because you know some colors work well together and some just be like bruh, and you don't wanna make your website start looking kind of what scammy, right? Next up is headlines and subtext. So like your headlines are like super actually important because why? You need to capture bruh headlines headlines right, headline. So you need to capture your users attention like from the get-go, right? You just need to capture their attention and not let it go, right? So you need cool headlines, you need cool subtext for that. You also need high quality images and videos, right? Because bro, you just need it. I'll explain later on. We need to optimize your layout. Like there should be a natural flow through your site. It doesn't wanna, I don't want to like as a user, you don't want when the user is using your site, it just feels so out of place where like one section and you have like one, two sections, then the next section is like something else totally unrelated from the other two previous sections, right? Also, um free shipping and discount, you should definitely test this to see what users like more, and probably free shipping because people just love free things. And your product descriptions, right, should be able to like make better product descriptions, right? And yeah, should probably get like a copywriter or something, or you can use ChatGPT to like come up with like better copy or something like that. Make sure to run sufficient enough data to get the best out of your A/B testing and get much more clear result. So A/B testing requires like a large quantity of like traffic and data for it to like actually work, so you can actually make any improvement, right? Because if you do not have the large amounts of data needed, then you are not going to see like much big of a difference from what you already had. Like it might look some type of way. Next up is leveraging personalization, right? Yes, people, especially your customers, love to feel like you are talking to them directly and not just spamming some mass message you send to everyone, right? In this day and age, no one likes to be just like spammed with like random messages from someone who doesn't care about them, right? They just want that personalization. So if you give them that, they are more likely to what? Know, like, and trust you. And if they know, like, and trust you, what happens? They buy from you, right? So here are a few extra details to consider for this subject, right? Use user data to offer personalized product recommendation, right? So if a user has been on your site before, you should be tracking a lot of data, and then you should be able to know what the user likes and what they don't like. Use AI to suggest more products a customer would love based on what they've bought previously and any abandoned carts. So we can still use abandoned carts to our advantage, right? It's not like a lost cause, right? So we can still use it. Another thing for personalization is to show dynamic content based on either the user location, the purchase history, or their preferences, right? Next up is optimizing your product pages, right? Product pages are some of the most important pages for any e-commerce store, as it pretty much decides whether or not your customer buys from you or not, right? So it's in our best interest to optimize it to the best of our ability, and here we will go over just how exactly we can do that, right? So here some of the points from other parts of the presentation are also going to be here. First up is high quality copy. Make better descriptions of your products and how it can help the user, and not just features, right? Customers care about what's in it for them, not about the features of what your product does. Next up, high quality images and videos, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words, and it's even truer online since I cannot physically see the product. It should at least have good pictures and videos, right? Transparent pricing. Be clear on your pricing and don't add any extra charges during the checkout process, because once you do that, that's when you get those high abandoned cart rates, because now the user is now confused that, bro, this thing was $100 and now I'm checking out, it's telling me $120, right? So that's just going to like, that's just bad news. Optimizing CTA placement, right? Experiment with different placements of your CTAs depending on the device the user is on to make it more convenient for them, which is what I discussed before, saying that I would rather have a bad CTA in a good position than a good CTA in a bad position, right? Optimize your product pages for mobile devices. Most users will mostly likely visit on your site through their mobile phone, so make sure it looks as good as mobile as it does on desktop. That's what I said before. Say, yo, when you do your marketing, you are marketing on Instagram, on TikTok, on like, platforms where majority of the users use their mobile phones. So it's always best to optimize your site for mobile, because the traffic is coming from the mobile phone. So you just gotta optimize that, right? Because ain't no delinquent using TikTok on the desktop. That's just crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's mad work. But I digress. Anyway, no annoying pop-ups. I've seen that when I log into like some Shopify apps, before I've even done anything, I'm just getting a pop-up to like join the email list. I'm like, bro, I don't know you, bro. I don't know you. I don't know what to sell. Like, you know, so overwhelming the user with too many like things to do will end up making them not do anything at all. Make sure your pages focuses on one thing at a time, right? And no annoying pop-ups. I mean, like, to like show like a sale or something, that's cool, but like try to like dial back on the pop-ups, because why? they get annoying real fast, right? And try to experiment with different layers to see which works, right? It makes a better overall user experience. So just try like different layout, and you can try these different layout using what? A/B testing, right? That way your main site doesn't have to suffer if like the new layout doesn't really work. So you can just split test it and just try different layouts with like different designs and all that. That way you can gather like feedback from your customers and actually improve it. Another optimization is the checkout process. This is where most stores, as I discussed before, drop the ball, and we're going to avoid that as best as we can. Here are some strategies to reduce cancellation during the checkout process. Right. First things first, have one clear CTA for the customer. As discussed above, having too many options for the user leads to them not choosing any at all, right? People say they want freedom of choice, but they really don't want that, because there is such a thing as like too much freedom. If there's too many options, you end up not doing anything at all. You just like sit there, right? That's why you should only have one main objective, right? Transparent pricing. Add your pricing in the product page at once so that they know, because if you add extra charges on checkout the user did not expect, you finna get cooked, right? There's this term, I don't know, like those who are watching, there's this term called cooked, right? This right here, right? Is this term called cooked. So when you are cooked, how do I put this? You are cooked, bro, right? You are cooked because why? You're probably doing some crazy stuff, and like, it's like, okay, the product is $100 on the product page, and then when I'm trying to check out it's $150. So I just adding these extra charges. I am going to cancel the order because bruh, in my mind the user has already budgeted what? $100. They're like, okay, I can lose $100. But then when they go to check out expecting $100 and they get it charged like 150, they're like, bruh, nah, I'm done, and they leave. And now you have lost the customer you could have gotten if you'd just been upfront with the price from the start, right? Next up, use consistent brand colors for your checkout flow. If not, the user will get suspicious and bounce, since no one wants to leave their card details just lying around on some random website. Like, I like advocate that you use a custom checkout process flow, right? Or just so that it matches with the overall aesthetic of your brand. Because why? If a user sees like on the checkout page, right, if they see like a kind of different name from like your brand name, or like kind of different color, like it just looks kind of like suspicious, they're going to leave, because ain't nobody trying to be leaving their like card details just lying around anywhere on the internet, right? Next up is to offer guest checkout, right? So allow guests to buy products without forcing them to create an account, as that will be too much of a hassle for them, and we're trying to reduce any friction that we may have. So not everyone, not everything, and not everyone needs to create an account, right? Just allow them to sign buy your product, right? There are ways around this, there's software around this, and I'm probably gonna get into that later on. I'm probably gonna build something around this. We'll see. Minimize form fields. So form fields are just pretty much these input fields that a user has to fill in details for, right? So now, too many input boxes make customers lazy and feel like they're doing way too much work. You know, like how that feeling where it's like, I am doing way too much work to be giving you my money. That's the feeling, right? They feel like they're doing too much work, or they may come up to their senses and realize they don't actually need what it is that you're selling, which is another lost sale, right? So don't add too many inputs, right? Just add the ones you absolutely need, like the ones that are of like necessity. Add those. Any other fancy stuff like name, or like favorite cat's name or whatever, but don't add that, right? Display trust badges and secure payment options most are familiar with. This way they are more likely to trust you. So like add those badges like the Googles, the Stripe. I'm pretty sure most people know Stripe, your Apple Pay, because your PayPal, because why? The majority of customers, like the mainstream, is familiar with these options. Some options are kind of like way too niche and specific that only a few people know. But these ones, adding and supporting these, will make it more user friendly, right? Right. So now another important thing, trust is very important, as people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And if they cannot trust you, then they will not buy from you, right? That's just how we live in, right? So now, how do we measure the success of our campaign, right? Running a campaign is good and all, but it doesn't help us much if we do not know what we are talking about and what is not working, right? So to measure the success of your efforts, make sure to track the data before and after you've implemented the changes. This way, you have a clear straight line path. Okay, don't probably be a straight line, but you get the gist of it. You can follow to see the progress you've made. Other great showcases of success of the campaign would include increased revenue, kind of obvious. That's if it's working, then our revenue should reflect that. Increased average order value and increased customer lifetime value, right? These three factors should like definitely increase, right? Also making sure to continuously adjust your approach and doing more of what works and removing what doesn't work for you, right? It's all about getting back data and like making actual improvements. So CRO is a continuous process. Never stop optimizing your site and product pages. Trends and user behaviors change over time, so you'll have to adapt to said changes. Regular testing and updating your site to keep up with trends and the competition, so that you can stay ahead of the bunch. Collect feedback and iterate on said feedback to improve over time, thus making you the best in your field and market, right? So this is pretty much the presentation I had on like conversion rate optimization, what it is, and what and how rather we can optimize it. Hopefully I got my point across like clearly so that you could understand. I'm sorry for my like shitty camera quality. Like my laptop is just, it is what it is, and also that I'm broke. I think at this point it should just be like no longer the skill issue dev, but rather the the brokey dev or something like that. But yeah, this is pretty much it, and the skill issue dev is out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Right? Yeah, hopefully when I see you, you'll have like $1 million Shopify store, and me and you can collaborate, and I can build you custom apps, and everyone is a win-win, right? But anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you. Sensational.